This episode contains language that is not suitable for minors. Please enjoy responsibly. And now, today's episode. Hello and welcome to The Beatdown. This is episode 12. I'm your host, Tony, and I'm joined by Chris Hewlin and John Rasa.
Is this season 2?
Season 2, episode 12, so it's a dirty dozen.
I remember recording like off the TV, the Help movie, because there were a few songs on that like I didn't have, like it wasn't in my collection yet and stuff like that. And plus you just got like, some dialogue in there and I would just mimic it, and, kind of like learn the dialogue that way. And Hard Day's Night was never on, but Help was on.
Yeah,
I saw that one.
What was it on? Like PIX, like or
I guess, right? Totally a New York station of some sort. Secaucus, whatever.
Right.
But like
late night TV.
That's where I would pick that up. Yeah, and I'd make it like but it was just like me with it, like a cassette. I think by that time I probably had a cassette player, with a record button on it, but like it was as close as you could get, just like a mic that was built into the unit.
We had record and play and pause all down, and then you'd lift the pause button.
Pause button,
right? I mean, right? Like there was a whole, and there was an art form to it. You had to work that.
Absolutely. Mm.
And then you'd get the DJ talking over it. That's WABC radio.
Do you guys remember, John, do you remember, we've talked about it, I don't know if it was on here, but like I can recall Ringo, so it would have been a little bit later in the 70s, Ringo being, he did this spot for The Who, and he's just like, I know who you are, and you know who I am, and we all know who the Who are, and it was, who are you?
Yeah. 78.
Like, do you remember that Ringo spot?
I remember you telling me about it, me looking it up, but I don't remember. Was it on? It was radio or TV?
Definitely on the radio for sure. And I think I've looked it up since then too, and there might have even been like a little video spot to it as well. But I remember it more from probably WABC, WNBC, whatever I was listening to, AM radio, New York City, Dan Ingram.
I actually just earlier this week, I was listening to The Point by Harry Nilsson about, I don't know if you remember, it actually, when it aired a couple times in the 70s, and it was The Land of Point with the hit on it was Me and My Arrow, and then they actually became the theme song or the commercial spot for the Arrow. I forget what car manufacturer made the Arrow, but it was Me and My Arrow.
Plymouth. It was the Plymouth Arrow.
Yeah, but Ringo was the narrator.
Is that right? Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Because he was friendly. Ringo. Everyone loved Ringo.
And then he also did, at some point, he was the conductor of Thomas the Train, right?
He was one. Yeah. After it was like.
After Alec Baldwin or before?
George Carlin.
Oh, wow.
I think he was.
Peace and love.
Yeah.
Don't send anything more to me. I won't be signing it, and I won't be returning it, signed or unsigned. Peace and love. So don't send anything to me, and just don't send anything to me. Peace and love.
Well, a prepared statement.
Done. All cuddly, lovable Ringo.
It's like, I don't want to be responsible for your rarities that you're mailing to me.
Stop. Peace and love. Stop that.
Just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, so you were like ahead of the curve on this this data that's come out.
Tony, have you noticed that? I like.
Yeah, you're
like I just happen to be ahead of the curve on this.
I know it's your industry, yeah. But I was like, when I saw that pop up under, you should be reading. Here's some articles you should be reading. And I was like, we've already talked about this.
Exactly.
And,
so this guy, the Atlantic, I don't know if you've noticed who he also references several other episodes of the Beatdown in here too.
Yeah.
He talks about blurred lines in here.
I noticed. I did see that. Yeah.
Right?
He's got to be listening to us, or should be.
He absolutely is. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and he took the point that that's what's really killing music.
It's one of the challenges, the restriction.
And you pointed that out. Yeah, way ahead of this guy.
Far enough into that article. I didn't know if I wanted to, but I wanted to hear your take on it. So I actually am just scanning the article now for the first time. What Tony's referring to is the fine people at MRC who put together put together all the metadata for the Billboard charts. Did their annual year wrap up of people's listening habits. And originally, I think they put it out as something like it was 80-something% of all music was considered catalog, meaning that was more than 18 months old.
It was like 79 point something. Yeah, it was like a roundup.
They actually did a readjustment on it.
Okay.
They realized that and it brought it down to 70, but it was like a massive leap off of the year before, and how essentially no new music is getting through. And I was arguing with Tony. Tony was going, well, of course, it's COVID and this and that. But I was saying that, but in 2020, everyone stopped putting out new music. They're like, well, I can't tour. I'm not going to put out so there was this glut of new music that came out in last year in 2021. New album by Drake, new albums by Taylor Swift, new album by Adele, like these, huge artists. And even that it's still, the trend went the other way, where people were listening to older music that by a long shot. And with this guy, I have similar scenarios to what this guy references in his article, is that when you go to a restaurant, are you guys frozen? Is it me?
No. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm attentively listening, and I'm not cutting in.
When you go to a restaurant, when it's even like a young, hip restaurant, and there's like young kids who DJ, or it's their phones that are playing the playlist there, it's like, occasionally you get a song from like the aughts, but a lot of it's like sometimes you'll hear Television, you'll hear Joy Division, then they'll slip in some Elton John, like from the 70s. Like it's I'm not hearing, oh, what's this new song? Like it never happens. Like it's just not the soundtrack anymore. Then just before.
You're in the city and we're out in the suburbs, and I don't go out to restaurants.
I figure the suburbs would even be more comfort food type of music, But
hear me out. But pre-COVID, you would have noticed that. You would have been at a place, a hipper, a supper club, and you would have heard newer music being belted out of these places.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, that's not true. There was more of a mix, but I won't. And when you say pre-COVID, I mean, you're keep trying to connect it to COVID. And I think this is a trend that's been going on for 10 years.
No,
I would put it more in the lap of streaming.
Not, right? That's, that I was saying that as well. I wasn't putting it all on COVID. I'm saying more of like, we are now seeing the real data for the first time now. And my points were, when we were discussing this, is that we're not. Are you telling me 18 to 29-year-olds are choosing old school music over? Like, I didn't see the data that reflected in the demographics of, like, if you're telling me that 20%. It's being dominated by 80% of the music. Again, I broke it down, but I was thinking in decades. If you're looking at a demographic from like people who are 80 years old, I mean, they've referenced the people making the music. These artists are now Paul McCartney and all these that are in their 80s. From 80-year-olds on down to 15-year-olds, that's a huge chunk of people. And so I think it's more of they're now able to see what people are really listening to, and you're getting the older crowd is now streaming more, and so now you're really getting a reflected you're getting to hear listening, what people are actually listening to. So including the buying, yeah, you wouldn't expect a 75-year-old person to go buy an Adele record or,
this chart
Billie
has
Eilish.
nothing to do with buying, though, right?
It's what they're listening to.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense to me, though.
Yeah. So streaming's been around for 15 years, right? They've had this information for 15 years, but so it's about adoption too. So, and certainly COVID pushed more people into a digital platform, because even if they wanted to go get music, they weren't going out
to the store to buy it. Right.
I mean, you've got them at Walmart or Target.
Yeah.
But so you saw the demographics in the chart saying something like, people over 50, like 97% of them like are streaming music. It's a really, really high penetration rate.
That's probably the more, red herring there, that, like I was saying, older people are now gravitating towards streaming more.
Well,
and have figured it out, or their kids have shown them.
I think the voice activated speakers are they play music,
making it the easiest way possible.
Yeah.
Right, but again, it's like if we think about our music collections, and it could be, you could take any demographic on this, but like just for our age group, it's like you have 60 years worth of music out there to purchase or listen to. You're gonna naturally, I mean, I would definitely say I don't fall in this category. 20% of my music that I listen to is not new music, meaning a year and a half old, 2 years, I think he said in that article.
Yeah, it's 18 months is what they consider.
Yeah, so you're listening to all that 60 years worth of music, and it's like out of a year and a half or 18 months, maybe 2 or 3 records come out or bands come out that I'm like, oh, I should get that, or I should listen to that.
Don't you think, John, it's the retrievability that the younger generation has of the older music now? Now you don't have to have had an older brother or an uncle at this point, that has awesome record collection.
Yeah, you watch a Marvel
like
music and you get hit with all that stuff.
So but at the same time, like now, the way we got it was off the radio still. Like you didn't know anything. Like, you dug the Brownsville Station single when you heard it when you were a kid, and you wanted, like you were just like, and so you were kind of spoon fed that stuff, and you had to listen to new music because they were pushing that product. And now it doesn't matter what the product could be. I don't care if the product's 30 years old or 60 years old. It's still product. And so I can push that, or I can push this. And so it's like a beer distributor. Like, look, dude, I can stop at 4 places and deliver 30,000 cases of Budweiser. Or you can take your bullshit beer and drive around to 30 different places and deliver 100 cases at each. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
Well, so
where's the? Go ahead.
I was going to say. So yeah, no. So the legit. We're kind of at a finer point here in that the idea of physical records has gone away, right? Like they exist. They keep talking about how vinyl's coming back, but in reality, it's still like 1% of all music.
I believe it.
Yeah. So
right.
It's. So the issue here is just So now your choice of music to listen to, there's nothing out of print. In fact, there's more available now, right? So that, but I'm saying, but that's been true for 15 years. What we're talking about is, but the trend, it's not like the some of those stuff you're talking about is truly, it's just purely logistical, right? And that's just been the maturation of streaming right now.
Agreed.
There's free. So
it makes the most sense, John, to me.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with anything you say. The thing that was different about this year versus last year is the trend spiked. It continues, like there's no new music to replace it, and I think the big piece is not about it's I think the big drivers are when you watch television, when you watch movies, they're not really featuring new music, right?
But isn't that more of a price issue? Is it in some cases, isn't it cheaper to?
No,
would it
no,
be?